Hey, and happy fall. It's kind of the beginning, at least it's the beginning for us of the whole autumn season because this is our first Facebook Live cooking class. For those of you that don't know, I'm Pam Smith. This is Nicole Ramsland, and we've got a fun time ahead.
We do. We started the cooking club. This is like the 4th season that we've been doing it now. It's unbelievable to me. And we started this just to help you know how to cook with flavor, how to cook using heat, which is something you do so well. This happens to be my mom and my favorite chef, and we love getting to do this together, but more than anything, we love doing this with you. So whether you're watching as a culinary demonstration or you are cooking along with us, we hope that you have the best time. Now, if you're cooking along with us, you're also going to enjoy some amazing tacos at the end of this. Absolutely,
because it's Taco Tuesday.
Yay, Texy Taco Tuesday. We have been waiting for Texy Taco Tuesday in the club. I'm going to say for all of these.
All 4 seasons.
Yeah, all 4 seasons. So we're very excited to be at Texy Taco Tuesday. We want to take a brief moment before we get started to talk about technology, because this is a no-stress kitchen.
Well, it's the plan.
It is. It's always the plan.
It's always the plan. And that's where hopefully you have a little glass of something in your hand, maybe to be cooking along with. We're holding a glass of Gruet, New Mexico sparkling wine. So it's going to be beautiful with the Texy Tacos, but it may help with the stress-free zone as well.
It might. So if your internet goes down, it'll come back up and hopefully you can get right back on. If you're in the middle of cooking and your internet goes down, that's why you have a recipe. So if you haven't printed out your recipe yet, or you don't have your fall booklet handy, now would be a great time to do that before we get rolling. We also have for you in the files tab, in addition to your recipe with the wine pairing, we have a grocery list and your prep sheet. On the prep sheet, we've outlined for you the things that if you get them done ahead of time, if you've already been doing them, this is going to go a lot quicker and smoother. If not, you maybe just chop in a little bit while we move on, and it's no problem. When you finish, you will have a delicious meal in front of you. Also, we have Spice Girl Treva with us.
Yes, indeed.
Treva is going to be here moderating the class. So any questions that come up, I mean, if you just want to know why that type of onion, or how big is a dice, whatever question it may be, just type it out and Treva will ask it for us so that we can get a real-time answer from our chef, Pam Smith.
It's awesome. And we've really, as Nicole said, been so excited about this because these are tacos with a difference. So as Nicole said, you will be able to prepare them, we'll be able to plate them, we'll be able to eat them. We'd love for you to do the same, whether it's tonight or later on. You might decide to jump in and do exactly that. But again, there's lots of tacos out there, but these are going to be shrimp tacos. Texy Taco Shrimp Tacos, which is really fantastic. We already have our shrimp that is ready in the sense that it's been peeled, deveined, which is just taking that little bit of a vein off from the back, or perhaps you bought them deveined. We did. And then all we did was just pull those little tails off. And so that's all ready to go. And in just a little bit, we'll toss it with a little bit of Texy Taco seasoning. And then we'll get started making the rest of our slaw and our citrus salsa, and then we're actually going to build it, and then we're going to be eating it too.
I know, I can't wait. That's kind of my favorite part. It occurred to me, now that we've said Texy Taco Tuesday, Texy Taco, probably about 10 or 12 times since we started, that some people may not know what Texy Taco is.
Really?
And so we have the spice.
How is that possible?
I know, by this point. But we have the spice company, PS Flavor, PS for Pam Smith. And
PS, don't forget the flavor. Very critical.
Because tacos without flavor, why? Food without flavor, why?
Well, and the reason we did this particular spice blend is because so many people love tacos, but kind of just only thought you could do tacos if you use those little packages that you buy from the grocery store, bright yellow. And they're obviously fine to use. They've been used for decades. But if you look at the ingredients, they're not necessarily what you want to be eating. And so we wanted to do a blend that is like all of our other blends, that's made from organic ingredients, that is high quality, no fillers, no added ingredients with names that you can't even pronounce, things that just shouldn't even be in it, are in it, dyes, all kinds of things. So we wanted to do one that was just full of flavor, but also full of things you wanted to put in your body, kind of that intersection we talk about so much between flavor and wellness.
Yes, so Texy Taco is one of the fall flavors, in addition to Mocha Chili, which we're going to be using tonight in the salsa, which cocoa in salsa, that just makes me very excited.
Well, it is, and it seems like a almost unusual or certainly a unique combination, but again, the Mocha Chili has, yes, that wonderful chili essence, but yes, a little bit of cocoa. It's just really full flavored, but it just screams for orange. And because we have some orange and lime in the citrus salsa, it just seemed a natural.
It does. And then our third blend that's in the fall kit is Mai Chai. And Mai Chai we're not using tonight, but get ready, because starting in November, we're going to be using it, and then December, we have this amazing Mai Chai puff, apple puff pancake coming up. So lots of Mai Chai, lots of Mocha Chili, and some Texy Marys coming up in December also. So lots of great things, but let's get started cooking.
We need to. We've got hungry people and thirsty people.
To an amazing night.
Well, an amazing night. Texy Taco Tuesday. We said it one more time. Cheers to you. Bon appetit once we get to that place. But right now, let's just get cooking.
And I'm going to grab the camera and do what we like to call the Nicole cam, so that we can get right up on what Pam is doing and see it, and you can know what to do at home.
Well, hopefully while we've been chatting, you've had a chance to, as Nicole said, print out your recipe, grab the recipe, at least get a sense of what we're actually doing. And what we're going to start with is get the shrimp that we already looked at, just seasoned and kind of ready to go. And I'm just going to be adding some Texy Taco right to it, just as you would expect. As I said, I've already had it in the pan. I actually have it in the pan with a little paper towel on the bottom, because I wanted to be able to catch any liquid that might have still been draining from the shrimp. And so again, get the paper towel out and get the Texy Taco on. Do a nice little stir with that, and that will be all ready for the saute once we finally get to that point, which will be in just a little bit. But before we move with that, we're going to get moving on our cabbage slaw. The cabbage slaw, one of my favorite things to do on tacos, again, you can put lettuce, you can put tomato, but there's something really awesome about the crunch of cabbage, and then with the beautiful red pepper and red onion, it's just this really perfect standout. It's kind of made popular from fish tacos. Since we're having shrimp tacos, it just seems to be a perfect blend. You have a few choices when you come to what lettuce you're gonna, or what cabbage rather, you're gonna be using. Could just be classic green cabbage, as many of you may have gotten already from the grocery store and may have already shredded. But if you wanna throw a little color in and don't mind buying 2 heads of cabbage, you can certainly do red cabbage, or as I have over here, I'll pull it over for you, Nicole, you could also buy a Napa cabbage. Napa cabbage is just a little softer cabbage. It doesn't give quite the same amount of crunch when you're at the top, but it's really beautiful. I love Napa cabbage. So again, feel free to use any of those, and sometimes it's just kind of based on what's available and what you might have available too. Whichever cabbage though you choose to use, what you want to do is do just a really nice fine shred. We cut the lettuce first, I keep calling it lettuce, the cabbage first in half. Go ahead and cut it in half one more time. And then just do a really nice fine shred with it. When you're doing that, you're just pulling your knife right through it. It's giving a nice half shred, because remember, this is going to be going onto your tacos. So you want to be able to have bites that are bite size. And once you get that shredded, just add it to what I've already started to shred, and hopefully you've done the same thing, and you've got kind of the perfect ingredients for what your cabbage slaw is going to be. Get that then into your bowl. I think I am going to use a little bit of the purple cabbage in addition. And then you want to start working towards your red onion and start working towards your red pepper. It's a really simple slaw. You can use it in a variety of different dishes beyond this, so feel free to kind of play with that as it goes. The red pepper is one of the easiest things to be able to put together in this because it's just so easy for you to slice. Again, top off, bottom off, and then literally just slice around so that you're taking kind of the ribs out at the same time, leaving the seeds behind. I'm all the time seeing people that are trying to cut the seeds out or try to seed a pepper. Just not important to do at all. Let your knife do that for you. Once you do that, you're going to have a nice flat kind of a surface. You can just do nice slices. The slices you're then going to put into a row so that then you can also do in a nice thin way. And you could either then turn, depending on what your choice was, and do a nice dice. But in this case, because it's what it is, we're just going to add those slices right into the cabbage. So again, nice thin slices. Perfect. And in we go. Easy and breezy. Then we need to start looking at our onion. Our onion, again, we also want some nice thin slices because it's the same thing. This is a slaw. We've already taken some of them, which you all have done as well. But what you're wanting to do is almost a similar thing that we did with the cabbage. You want to try to cut it in half, then cut it in half one more time. And then with your knife, just literally go along the ribs of it to make your nice fine slices of that as well. Think everybody's with us, Nicole?
I think so.
Okay.
If anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to ask. But so far, I think we're getting those nice thin slices.
Yeah, beautiful. And then those go right
already
in.
so bright and vibrant.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about this. It just makes the whole look so beautiful and so compelling. Color is not, interestingly, just for your eye. Color is also for your well-being. You've heard before, and I say it all the time, that the most vibrant colored fruits and vegetables are those that are the healthiest for you. So when you're looking for color, you're also getting a wellness boost that you would never expect to get. It doesn't come from things that are just beige and brown. There's some exceptions, but for the most part, where you're getting that is from the color that's in play. Once you get that mixed together, we're going to start adding some acidity to it. Acidity in the form of a little bit of rice wine vinegar. And we're also going to add just a little touch of olive oil to it as well. So it becomes just that little slaw that we're looking for. And then the flavor is coming from our Texy Taco. Again, not only are we using that in the shrimp, as we just did, but we're also using it to season this slaw. The Texy Taco, again, has cumin. It has all of those things you would expect. A little bit of chili, has a little bit of salt, but so much lower in salt than what you would normally expect because the flavors are coming from all of the other spice blends and the herbs. Really, really delicious. Once you get that mixed up, that acidity that's coming from the rice wine vinegar is going to start to soften the cabbage because although you want that crunch, you want to be able to have it working well on your taco. So that's why we're starting with that. Generally, you want to let this sit in the refrigerator for about an hour or so to try to marry the flavors, but not necessary to do. The moment you actually get all of that together, it's already delicious. But to make sure that's the case, I'm gonna give it a little taste. It's Nicole's favorite part of our cooking classes. And it's perfect, yes. So yes, Nicole, no surprise. Absolutely delicious, absolutely perfect. And no need to really add anything else. I guess I said that Texy Taco has just enough salt in it that it's giving that balance to the beautiful and yet mild acidity that's coming from the rice wine vinegar. So one step down. So I'm going to move this back.
And while you do that, I wanted to say, that if anybody's needing Texy Taco, we have posted the jars on the psflavorclub.com website so that you can get to them very easily.
Perfect. Okay, so
and we also got an aloha from Spice Girl Jenna, who is in Hawaii right now.
Perfect.
Hopefully having her own Texy Taco Tuesday.
Let us believe. So then we're going to move on, and now that we've got the cabbage slaw done, we're going to move on and do our citrus salsa. Now again, might seem unusual to those of you that are used to just traditional salsa that's kind of like a pico de gallo, or what you might buy in a jar. Just like this, the slaw just gives this boost of flavor and crunch and color. The citrus just gives this incredible bright flavor note. And that's what we're looking to do in this. We have oranges, we have limes, and again, it might seem unusual to be using just limes. We're used to squeezing limes, we're used to maybe zesting limes, but don't oftentimes think about using the lime itself. But indeed, it's what adds this little added touch. So what we're going to do with that, both with the lime and with the orange, is we're going to go about taking the peel off, which again sounds strange. Peeling a lime? Oh yes, we are. Now, if you were wanting to really double up on the use of your lime, you would actually zest it before you take that peeling off. The zest is where so much of the flavor is. Can always add the zest even into the citrus salsa, or even sprinkle the shrimp tacos with it. But we're, for this moment, just cutting that peel right off the side. And again, you saw what we did. We cut the top part off, we cut the bottom part off. And then you can do one of two things. You can get very fancy and do something called supreming. Supreming means you're using your knife to cut along the membranes that are inside of the lime itself and just literally pull those out. The supreming takes care of all of that little pith that is in. If you don't want to do that, it is no problem at all. All that you do instead is just simply cut slices and then dices of the lime. So again, if you want to get fancy and all chefy, do the supreming. We'll do it again with the orange so you can see that. With that, it's just a little bit of a finer and a little bit of a little upscale kind of a touch, but again, not at all critical to do. Let's do the same thing with the orange. Again, we cut first the top part and we cut the bottom part. Then you've got a nice flat surface. And with that, you're just running your knife right along the side. You're wanting to get all of that pith, which is the white colored material, off, because that's where the bitterness is. Again, the flavor is in the rind. The flavor is in what you would be zesting off. That's where the essential oils are. And then of course the flavor is in the orange itself.
Now I see you using the Cutco Cutlery Santoku cheese knife, and I just wanted to point out.
It's very strange, right, that I would be using it on my citrus.
A cheese knife on citrus?
Crazy.
It is such a go-to for us, for both of us, because it's so manageable.
We love this knife. Because of that little serration that's in it, it just cuts through so many things. It's my favorite knife to use to cut tomatoes with, obviously favorite to use for cutting cheese, and perfect for this. Just like I'd shown before, but a little easier to see with this. You're literally just taking the knife, running it along the side of that membrane that's within, and just slipping that orange piece right out. It's perfect to do for the holidays if you're wanting to do a fruit salad. It's just a perfect way to get those beautiful orange wedges. But again, no need to do that at any point. You want to give it up. You can just stop and just dice it in and of itself. You might ask, well, what would you do with all the rest of the orange? It seems like you're leaving so much. It's delicious to eat the orange, so that's really no problem. We all eat those. It's just that in the salsa, you may or may not want to have that little membrane that's in play. So once you get it all cut, what happens in the kitchen professionally, you've got this beautiful little fan. You can then just simply slice it and it becomes your snack, because the chef always needs to be snacking while they're cooking, right?
That's great.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we have all of these beautiful sections, again, that you could use in so many ways. Just run your knife, again, right through those to get the kind of dice that you're looking for, and then get those right into the fruit salsa.
Now the other knife that you're using, it looks like the Cutco Petite Slicer.
Which we used for the cabbage as well.
We did, and we used it a few months back with the shredding the kale and romaine as well. It's really spectacular for the different lettuces.
Really, really, really spectacular. And I've got so much juice here. It's really lovely. It's just a sign of what a great orange is all about.
Right.
So we're always asked, can you use other things with this in addition or in place of the orange? Could you use clementines? Yes, you could. Could you use lemon instead of the lime? Yes, you could. But this one tonight, we're going to just instead do the orange and the lime itself.
Well, and like you said, I love the flavor combination of the mocha chili with the orange. It seems to just crave it, especially, not that it's cooling down seemingly in Orlando, but we believe that other places perhaps it's cooling down.
There will be a day that we will actually see that happening. So we have the two citruses in play now, both the lime and the orange. Then we're going to be adding just a little bit of the added seasoning that goes with it. Now, on the recipe prep list, we said not only to slice in very thin slices the red onion that you were putting in the slaw, we also talked about doing a dice of onion. Well, not necessary to do in this dish because the recipe doesn't call for it. But if you did, go ahead and dice some onion. Maybe take it a little bit of a smaller dice, something that looks a little like this. Red onion is perfect in this dish. It's nothing wrong with it. If anything, it's just going to brighten it up and give just a little bit more. If you didn't do that, you're in great shape. You're following the recipe, and that's what you should do. We're going to add a little bit of rice wine vinegar to this as well. There's some commonality that goes with that. Rice wine vinegar is a little milder, very approachable vinegar. I use rice wine vinegar and apple cider vinegar a lot in cooking, whereas I tend to use white balsamic and red wine vinegar, champagne vinegar when I'm doing, particularly doing salad and vinaigrettes that go with that. Little touch of olive oil that's going in here as well. And then this one is unique because, as we've already said, we're going to be using our mocha chili. And I'm again very excited about it. I'm going to add a little bit of cilantro. And perfect. I'm just going to use...
Now, if people are at home and thinking, what could I possibly do if I don't have mocha chili? Is there something that they could do instead? Because for us, mocha chili is, it's a blend of espresso, cocoa, chipotle, a little bit of sugar, salt.
Just to balance it.
Yeah, just a nice balance of saltiness, heat, a little sweetness. That cocoa brings that depth. But is there something that they could do at home if they don't have their bottle of mocha yet? Yeah,
because also what you're doing is trying to just get a little bit of extra flavor. It can be easily done with a little kosher salt, a little freshly ground black pepper, perhaps just a little touch of chili powder could go a long way, or heck, just go for more of your Texy Taco, and that could work out beautifully as well, or your taco seasoning of choice. Once we get that in play, I think the only thing I've left out of this is a little jalapeno. Can't do a salsa without a little jalapeno. What we did with this is just a teaspoon. You can do that to taste, which is what I'll do right now, and determine if it's got enough heat. Not everyone loves a lot of heat, particularly in their salsas. So again, you may or may not want to go higher on the jalapenos when you are dicing. And this was really a mince of the jalapeno. When you cut it, take that stem off, take the bottom off, slice it, and just scrape with a spoon the seeds out. The seeds and the veins that are in the jalapeno is where the heat is. But hey, If you like a lot of fiery heat, go for it. You can absolutely use the seeds. You can use it all. I usually scrape it, and truly best is to wear gloves when you do, especially when you're working with jalapenos or a hotter pepper like a Scotch bonnet or habanero, which could work in this as well.
So to get those seeds and the veins out, you actually use a spoon and just scrape them right out.
Just like this. You could use the back of your knife, but spoon just works out great, and that is great. You didn't get to see me go, oh my gosh, it's delicious.
Well, one of the club members that's watching also just tasted theirs and said that this slaw is, all caps, amazing.
It is
I
amazing.
love this
It's
slaw.
really surprising, right? And it's that blending of the slaw together with the salsa.
Yeah.
The salsa, by the way, is not only delicious, just as we're going to use it as a topper for the shrimp tacos, also delicious to top a piece of fish with. So if you make it and make a little bit more than what you're going to use tonight, put it in the refrigerator. It'll keep for 3 to 5 days easily. And then use it for a topper, again, a piece of fish, a piece of chicken. Again, it just gives that brightness to the dish that is absolutely delicious. It can also become a really beautiful base for a vinaigrette because you already have everything in it you need. The orange, you have the jalapeno, you have the cilantro. Kind of has all of it, and you could even just do a quick whiz and whir in your blender and add just a little touch more olive oil, and there you go. You've got a citrus vinaigrette.
Well, there we
works
go.
out great.
How about
there
that?
you go. All good things. You can also use a little extra lime. Again, I was tasting it to see if I needed more jalapeno because I know you're going to be eating this, Nicole, and it's not your favorite to go with really high heat. I'm going to keep it just with what it was, about a teaspoon of that. And I'm not even going to add any more lime to it. I'm going to kind of let my taste be the guide and really make it delicious. So all good. Only thing I'm missing, and I'm doing this on purpose, is the avocado. If you were going to make this in advance, get it into the refrigerator, hold up on the avocado that you're going to be using. Add the avocado right at the end. It'll just keep the integrity, keep the color of the avocado a little bit more. We're going to be eating this momentarily, so we'll go ahead and take care of it. Cut your avocado just in half. It'll reveal the seed, and hopefully it's a nice avocado, as this one is. And then with your trusty knife, just hit that inner pit, twist it, and out the pit comes. I'm sure many of you have watched videos about how to take a pit out of avocado. That's how to do it. And then with your knife, literally slice right into it. Again, you're not trying to slice into your hand. You're trying to go just against the skin of the avocado. If you're doing slices, you would just remove it at that point. But if you're looking instead to do dices, as we're wanting to do, just turn it to the opposite degree, and then with your spoon, literally just take those dices. Look at that, just right out, and voila, you have a beautiful avocado that's been done so quickly and so easily.
Amazing.
Same thing applies to the next one. Just again, run your knife along this way.
So
This is
one
the easy
whole avocado.
One
is
whole
what you're doing.
avocado.
Okay.
And then take it from here, and then voila, just pull it right out. Easiest way in the world to take care of an avocado. Mix that in, and we have our beautiful citrus salsa with beautiful Hass avocados. And I don't know that it gets better than that. That mocha chili, I'm getting this lingering flavor of it, and I just really, really love it. All good. Treva, everybody happy? You have any questions? No? All good.
They are. Yes, the slaw is becoming quite the topic of conversation of how much they love it. I can't wait for them to have the slaw with the salsa and then what's to come with the crema.
Yes, the crema is next on the list. The crema is truly, in this particular recipe, you could just do a simple sour cream. I use light sour cream. I don't ever use fat-free sour cream. Fat-free is just loaded with all kinds of thickeners. I don't use fat-free cheese either, but I tend to use cheeses, particularly when I'm using them in abundance, that are partially reducing the fat. So it'd be the equivalent of like a 2% milk. That's what I do with cheeses. It's a 2% cheese. And that's what I do with sour cream too. I go with a lower fat one, but again, not fat-free at all. If you didn't want to go to some of the added steps that we're doing with this, you could simply take your sour cream and just add your Texy Taco to it. You can see this is Texy Taco and lots of different layers of flavor. What's interesting with spice blends is anytime you add them to a different kind of vehicle. So for example, adding it to the slaw, it's amazing what gets released because of the synergistic aspect of all of those different vegetables that are in it. When you're adding it to the cream, that little bit of fat that's there and that dairy tends to kind of carry the Texy Taco into a different place altogether. And then when you heat the Texy Taco on the shrimp, it takes on a different personality too. Same spice, but because it's being used in different ways, you end up with a common thread. And again, it's layer upon layer upon layer of flavor. So if you do nothing more to this, but just add a little bit of Texy Taco, the recipe for a half a cup calls for a teaspoon of Texy Taco. Mix that together, and honestly, you're good to go. It is delicious just doing that alone. But hey, we could add a few more things. Why not, right?
Because we can.
Because we can. But that we just get mixed up. To it, we're gonna add a little bit of chopped cilantro. Again, about 3 tablespoons to this.
Now, earlier someone asked, if they're not a big cilantro fan,
Which
is there
a lot of people
something
aren't.
that they could do instead? And you had mentioned flat leaf parsley.
Yeah, flat leaf parsley doesn't have a lot of flavor to it, but it does impart flavor. And it's almost a go-to for people that aren't cilantro fans. And we've said this before, but it begs to be said again. If you're not a cilantro fan, like you really feel like it tastes like dirty dishwater. I've never tasted dirty dishwater. I don't know what that tastes like, but that's always what you hear. It tastes like soap. That's a DNA thing. I mean, you literally have that scripted into your DNA. You're never gonna love cilantro, especially if it's overused. You can probably take it in small dosages, but just go ahead and use flat leaf parsley. It works great. I also added some scallions to this, or green onion. I'm doing a really fine mince with it. All that I did was just take that knife and literally using the green parts alone, just move your knife right through it to do just a little slice, or you could turn and then just do a fine mince. Again, you want to have it pretty minced because you're going to be needing to get it through your squeeze bottle. If you're actually going to go to that point, you may not want to. You may just want to spoon it on and call it good. But a fine mince goes a long way to making this work for you. The only thing in addition that we're going to add is some lime juice. If you have your handy citrus squeezer, those that were part of our first first kit in the winter, this was part of the apparatus that came with that kit, and it's really our go-to. Before I even got to this point, I hit these limes in the microwave for about 30 seconds, just enough to burst open the cells, the flavor cells that are in the lime, so it releases the juice. Even cutting it, the juice just kind of comes to life in a really big way. Then you get it into your citrus squeezer and look at all of that juice. It's really amazing. We just need a tablespoon, so a half will work out fine. If you don't have a handy citrus squeezer, the classic way, just cut it. When I'm trying to get the most juice, not using a citrus squeezer, but just using my hands, instead of cutting it in half as a circle, I tend to cut it in half lengthwise because you get a little more pressure and can get a little bit more juice coming out of that. You get this mixed up, and again, we're good to go. This could be right here used on so many things. But again, it's going to be beautiful used on this. Again, everything is minced well. So we could put it into a trusty squeeze bottle, which I love to do because it's fun. And it's one of our big uses in a professional kitchen is to have the squeeze bottle filled with all kinds of different sauces. You can literally, with a spoon or with a funnel, just get that right into your squeeze bottle. Or if you want to get extra fancy, you can take a Ziploc bag, literally load the salsa into the bag. It seems like you're doing a science project somehow.
So you're just putting the crema in the Ziploc.
I'm doing this for a reason.
Okay.
Stick with me. You could store it like this. That would work out fine too. Or you could do what we're gonna do, and that is seal the bag first. So this is kind of a homemade piping bag. You can buy piping bags at the store easily. What you wanna do is get it there, and then literally with your trusty kitchen shears, just trim that end off, load it in, and voila. We have a perfect way to milk that, if you will, the sour cream right into our squeeze bottle.
Now, we chose the squeeze bottle for the fall kit for a couple of reasons, but the main one is in watching you cook over the years, I've seen you really go to about 4 things that every home cook needs, and so that's what we've tried to get in people's hands this year. So we started with the citrus squeezer, we did the zester microplane,
right,
and then the digital thermometer, since we were asking them to use one in every meal,
right.
So we added that for the next one for the summer, and then this time decided to go with the squeeze bottle, but not just a squeeze bottle. We actually have taken each one that we've mailed out and we've cut the top of it so that the particulate can come out of it. So hopefully that's working for you at home, and we just wanted to give you a little idea of that it's not just the squeeze bottle you get, you can get at the store. We tried to make it really easy for you, and we also added in a couple other things that you're going to use this fall. So in a minute you'll get to see the taco holders, which we're very excited about.
Yes.
And then for next month we have your baker's twine to use for your Cornish game hens. So it's a pretty fun little kit that you can get.
Giving a little preview of what's yet to come.
I know. I'm bad with spoiler alerts.
We're all very excited about those game hens, right? So those are coming soon. Okay, so we're getting ready to now get things kind of assembled. We have a pan here. In the prep list, I talked about gathering your ingredients together and just talked about using a skillet, a nonstick skillet or a cast iron skillet such as this. I love this little cast iron wok, and I have an induction cooktop, so I need to use either all cast iron or stainless steel. So I thought this would be a fun thing to cook with, but you don't need a wok to do it. Just a normal saute pan works out perfectly. I'm getting that heated, and right as it gets hot, I'm gonna add just a little touch of olive oil. Which
is another thing that I always watch you do with the squeeze bottle. Is keeping your olive oil so that you can get just the amount you want.
Yeah, either squeeze bottle, or I also use a spray bottle. A great way to mist. Now you note that I already have the Texy Taco on, and so with that getting into that hot pan, it immediately begins to brown and caramelize on the shrimp. I wanna get that shrimp into kind of a nice even layer so that I can start to sear it, caramelize it, even get just a little bit of char. But shrimp cooks really, really quickly. Almost as soon as you get it into the pan, just a couple of minutes later, you'll want to get a little bit of a toss to it to get the other side browning as beautifully. Again, I mentioned that I had a paper towel in the bowl earlier. One of the best ways to get a good sear on seafood is to try to make sure it's dry, pat it dry. Have it on paper towels, because the water that's naturally in seafood, like scallops or fish or shrimp, as soon as it hits that heat, will start to release. So you end up steaming your seafood rather than getting the sear that you're wanting to get. Again, not what we're wanting to get at all. Take a look at that.
You patted it dry and you got your pan smoking hot.
Right.
And that's something that I feel like we really go to in just about every class, is making sure that heat is used to your advantage. And one of the things that I always hear you say is to get your pan really, really hot. I mean, where you put your hand over it and you feel that heat.
Right, or you could do a little bit of a tester, get just a little bit of water, and just hit the pan with that little bit of water. If the water kind of sizzles and starts to dance, that's one of the signs that you really have it as hot as you want it to do. I don't put the oil in while I'm heating it. I let the pan heat first, and then I add the oil to it, and then get the protein in pretty quickly. You hear that olive oil has a lower smoke point than other oils like canola or grapeseed oil. It does, but again, you're getting all of its goodness. It's nothing evil is happening to it if it goes over its smoke point. It's just that as it smokes, you start to lose some of those essential nutrients that are in olive oil. It just becomes almost like a normal oil, like a canola or a safflower or any of those kinds of oils. You see what we're getting, that crustiness that's kind of going on it? That's as the Texy Taco is just starting to caramelize. And once you do that final little toss, they're done. They're ready to go. I mean, you've got all that you need to do. Get the heat off and start to prepare to build your tacos.
So how did you know they were done?
So you can tell as much by the color. If you look at this, if you go down into it, you start to see the pink that's showing on the shrimp. You start to see that they lose that almost translucency, and instead they look like they're a little bit more dense than what they would normally be or what they were when they came in raw. And that's how you know. It usually takes about just 3 to 4 minutes when you're doing them on a high heat.
Okay, great.
Okay, perfect. Now to build the tacos. This is the easiest part of all. With this, we have a couple choices. The recipe calls for either corn tortilla or it calls for flour tortillas. Completely your choice. If you're using a corn tortilla, it is fine to just build it just as it is, just straight out of the package. I tend to like to heat them just a bit. So I will either wrap them in paper towels such as this, sprinkle it with just a little bit of water and microwave it for about a minute, just enough to get some softness and to start to warm them. Another thing you can do, and this is awesome to do if you're doing a taco bar, because it kind of gets everybody interactive in it, is get a skillet. In this case, this is a cast iron skillet, and literally brown those corn tortillas. It's not as necessary with flour tortillas. Flour tortillas don't have that same texture to them that corn tortillas have. The corn tortillas taste a little more raw to me. So getting them with some heat is really a great thing to do. Literally just toss them into the pan.
And did you have any oil or anything in there? So just
a dry pan, yeah, because we're not really wanting to boil them,
right?
Or boil them. We're not wanting to fry them. What we're wanting to do instead is just to be able to soften them.
Okay. So you just leave it there on the hot pan.
Yep. And then children don't do this at home, but flip it over, and it's just enough to soften it. Now, in the recipe, I talk about the fact that you can have a couple of choices here. You can either build this with actually 2 tortillas, or you can build it with just 1 tortilla, either way that you want to do it. I tend to like to use 2 because when you're picking it up, you tend to, somehow it falls apart just a little bit more. Okay. Is there a question?
Yes. Treva, was there a question?
There is. Melissa says if the vegetarians watching are using something like tofu as the protein, would you recommend still sauteing with olive oil or something else?
Well, if olive oil is something people like, I definitely would say olive oil because you're getting, again, just more flavor with it. So again, and I would definitely suggest sauteing the tofu too. Almost a similar thing. I like to press tofu just a little bit to try to get a little more of a drier texture to it. And then after it's pressed, then dry it, and just like we did with the shrimp, toss it with the Texy Taco, and then proceed just as it would be normal.
Okay.
You can also get the Tofu Crumbles if you've ever seen those before. The Tofu Crumbles are great because they also give you just that ability to almost look like traditional ground meat when you're doing a plant-based kind of a taco meal. I also love black beans in tacos, so tofu with black beans together could also be a great little saute method.
Thank you.
Okay, we're good to go. So we've got these. So as I said, you can either do 2, you can do 1, however you want to really be able to do this. I'm gonna get the heat off on that. And then we just start to build, and I think it's getting close to time to eat as well.
I know, we've been smelling it for so long.
I know. With these, you're simply going to not try to lose them, but you're gonna try. I'm gonna take it out of the little holder and add my little shrimp to it.
Ooh, one of the other club members made it with the Gardein crab cake.
Oh, with crab cakes. Hello.
I
Using the
know.
Texy Taco as well?
Using the Texy Taco.
Sounds delicious. I'm going to, just for this purpose, just sprinkle some of this in. First, the Cabbage Slaw, and then just a little bit of this salsa, the citrus salsa with the mocha chili.
Okay, so you started with the shrimp,
Uh-huh.
and then the Cabbage Slaw,
Place
and
it.
then the citrus salsa.
And then what would come next, we'll go ahead and build out these as well.
And if you're having a dinner party and you're making tacos because it's Texy Taco Tuesday, of course you need
And
tacos.
just so much fun.
How many tacos would you want to estimate that you'll have per person?
I would say at least 2.
Okay.
I think 2 just is kind of the right amount. Some people will choose to, and actually whenever I do tacos, even though the classic is to do them just like we're doing, I tend to always also have like the slaw, I have the salsa, I have everything kind of on its own so people can literally build their own, and they can add whatever it is they want. I'll have sometimes a couple of kinds of proteins. I might have some different cheeses, so you can kind of take it as you go.
Okay.
Okay, gonna build just a couple more. Then we're gonna add that beautiful salsa to it, or the salsa, the crema.
Now, I love, we have other taco holders also personally, but we wanted to get you guys these taco holders because we know that as we've been doing these classes, presentation has become such a fun part of how do we plate, plating tacos, especially soft tacos, is so difficult. So we loved the idea of being able to give you something to plate
And
because
those came in the kit.
they came in the kit, yes, which is at psflavorclub.com if you are wanting to get one. But they're just so fun for plating. And what I saw you do previously is do one made in the holder and then one flat.
Right.
So if you're doing, 2 tacos for someone, perhaps they get a plate and one is built up and then one is built flat, which is a beautiful way to display it as well.
Right. So now we have our crema, and literally just do a little zigzag of the crema or a little squirt of the crema, as the case might be. If the crema seems a little thick to you and it's not coming out as beautifully as you'd like, can always add just a little bit of milk or buttermilk to it,
Okay.
Which gives a little bit more thinness to it. This I would have probably have liked to have had sitting aside for just a little bit to try to come together, but I think it's coming together nicely.
Too.
Then you can also squeeze just a little bit of lime. Actually, we didn't squeeze any lime on the shrimp after we cooked it. That's what the recipe calls for. And that's generally, I'll go ahead and do that for this, something I like to do. That citrus right at the end just gives this brightness, a beautiful, beautiful kind of lifting note, which makes it beautiful.
So if we didn't do that while the shrimp was in the pan, is that something that you would do at the end?
Right here.
Okay.
You're already getting the lime crema, but always nice to do just a little bit more. With your cilantro, you can take some extra, literally just pull a few of the leaves off and just use that for just a little bit of a garnish. No need to even chop it, just the leaves themselves. Just add a really nice little touch. You already have the chopped that's in, so just a few little leaves on top.
Wow.
And you've got a meal.
Yes, you do. Not quite the average Taco Tuesday. I would definitely say this took us to a Texy Taco Tuesday
level. That was
moment.
our plan. All there is to it. So I'm going to put this right here. We can celebrate that. We have our beautiful little sparkling. This was, again, as I said, the Brut Rosé by Gruet from New Mexico.
Wow.
I know.
Oh, this has been so fun. I love the way these turned out. I think they're so cute. And the holders.
You love the holders.
I do. I probably would get the whole thing just for the holders.
Yes.
But so easy to make and such a difference. Not,
Yes.
again, not just your normal tacos. I know I talk to a lot of people that they really do Taco Tuesday every week. It's just a go-to, it's routine, the kids know what to expect, and it's easy.
Right.
And being able to just do something a little different, something that, you know, you don't have to. I know we started thinking Texy Taco when we started thinking about my daughter and how I was feeding her, you know, different seasonings that I got at the grocery store, but having something without chemicals in it was so great and made us feel really, really good.
And so much flavor. Because again, when you compare the difference, it's really amazing. What I love about this is pretty much all of it can be prepped in advance. And as I said, you could use it for so many different uses, but you can have the slaw already made, you can have the salsa made. This crema, I try to keep made all the time because
It's always in the
it
refrigerator.
really is. Was last month, I believe, we did these beautiful lamb meatballs that were done with the blend. It's a blend of ground lamb, mushrooms, some different herbs. This salsa with those meatballs, oh my God.
Yeah, make it happen.
Really, really delicious. I use it for smoked salmon. It's just really unbelievable. So it may become your new go-to, especially if you have your handy little squeeze bottle.
That's right. Before we finish, I want to tell anybody watching or who may watch coming up about two things. So one is what's happening with our Cutco Cutlery giveaway this month. And we decided to switch things up a bit. We've been doing, if you post the picture of your meal, you'll get an entry, and we've had 10, well, this will be the 10th winner coming up. But so far, 9 Cooking Club people have gotten the most amazing knives
Really
from
beautiful.
Cutco.
Yes.
And we just love them. But we decided for this month, let's just make it a full-on Texy Taco celebration for the Cutco giveaway. So what we want you to do is any Texy Taco meal that you make between now and the end of October, take a picture of it, post it on the PS Flavor Cooking Club Facebook group where you are right now, and then share it with your friends and get them to like it. And whoever has the most likes by the end of October will win this knife.
That's awesome. You said celebration. It sounded a little more like competition, but that's
true.
Awesome. That is a
I
celebration.
do love a competition.
You do. She's
And
a
then-
game show queen. Yes.
Yeah. And then you know, we can celebrate
Yes.
the winner. It's
Exactly.
both.
It's both.
Competition
It is.
and
It is.
celebration.
I love that.
Also, looking at celebration, there's a lot coming up in November and December.
Yes, there is.
For everybody, we're all probably already taking deep breaths, thinking about Thanksgiving and Christmas yet to come. But we want to make it extra easy for you, extra flavorful. And so we put a lot of thought into that as we were making your fall kit this time. What can we do to make what can sometimes be stressful holidays easier and high flavor so that you aren't making your food and then thinking, oh, it's kind of bland. We never want that to happen to you ever again. So in November, what we're going to be doing is our normal cooking class, but right in the middle of it, while the Cornish game hens are cooking,
Those game hens.
I know, while the chai pilaf is doing its thing, we are going to have a Thanksgiving Q&A with Pam. So think about what questions you might have. whenever you're making your Thanksgiving meal, do you wish that you had an expert chef right there helping you along the way that she could answer for you? So think about your questions. Come ready while we're getting the Cornish game hens and the chai pilaf going. You won't have to be chopping and dicing and cooking. We'll really be able to just be together. So we want to take that as a time to really be here for you. Maybe it's not a Thanksgiving cooking question. Maybe it's how do you host 30 people in your house, which you do often.
Yes,
so
yeah.
maybe that's a question you would have for Pam. But we want to be here to help you make that a really special holiday that's maybe a little more stress-free.
Yes.
And then in December, we decided to switch it up yet again, and we are gonna do for December a breakfast for dinner. So we're doing a apple chai puff pancake with mocha chicken sausage and using the Texy Taco to make a Texy Mary.
So it's kind of for your holiday brunch, but we thought we'd have it for dinner and it'd be super fun and it's super delicious. You're gonna love the Texy Marys.
Yes.
So good. So with that, they need to eat.
I know.
I know.
We just love you guys so much. We keep wanting to talk. But to each of you, thank you for being with us. We just adore these times and hope that you enjoy your meal.
Yes. Bon appetit.